Hello!
Hello.
And welcome back to another episode of the C-Pod. If you are watching us on YouTube, you will see that we are basically dressed in the exact same outfits and look exactly the same. That's because we are being extremely productive today and we are filming back-to-back episodes. So, how are you feeling today, Beth?
Yeah, good.
Tired or?
No, we're loving it. So we because now I'm based in the Midlands and you're London Essex, which I was before. We just have to. We can't just do this spontaneously. We organise these dates, the travel and things like that, as well as all the guests and getting them lined up. So it was just best for us.
Yeah. So we need to make the most of the time that we have together, which is sad, but
I know.
But anyway, on to today's episode. So today we are discussing what cancer does to our body image and like just body image in general and life after cancer, how we feel about our body, how it affects our body. So we know that there is quite a lot of negativity around this if you don't embrace it, I guess.
Yeah, and also this is an example of how physical and mental health completely intertwine, because your body image is literally how you look, but there is so much that comes with that mentally, you know, the recovery, dealing with how your body changes. And for me, I thought it was always so unfair that I gained so much weight and I felt like no one else gained as much weight as me. And even to this day, I felt like I don't know how other people, but I've just felt like I really got it hard in terms of the weight gain, and I am not complaining and I don't want sympathy and I don't want any of this because I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed, but that for me was a really tricky topic, and out of all of these topics, the body image one is the one that strikes up so much mixed emotions.
Yeah.
It's like I don't really struggle so much with it now. Obviously there's peaks and troughs and there's good and bad days for everyone, isn't there? But at the time, just body image was a massive thing, and that's the one thing I wanted to talk about and wanted to know more about. And you just don't, because during treatment it's like worry about that after. You don't focus on it now.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's going to be our main topic today, and we are going to be joined by two lovely guests, Emma and Hannah. They are going to join us a little bit later once we've discussed our thoughts and feelings, and we will get to know theirs. They have both had completely different types of cancers. I think me and Hannah have had the same cancer. But yeah, so I'm very looking forward, and I think that this is a topic that needs to be discussed because it's one of those things where I think people feel not ashamed to talk about, but just very insecure to talk about, because body image does make people feel insecure.
And cancer is so different for everyone, so different cancers will create different body issues and feelings towards it. Like breast cancer, the surgery might make you feel so worried and conscious of your chest, your boobs, and like someone else, for instance, might have bowel cancer and might have to have something, bowel removal, resection, or one of those things. So it's completely different for everyone. I haven't had any surgery as such, and we can talk about surgery on a different episode, but just for me, in terms of the effect of steroids and chemo and things on my body, mainly weight gain, as well as like joint pain and stuff, because that's all to do with like body, but mainly about how I look. That was really tough, and like pairing that with hair loss is particularly tough, and at 17, 18 that was like fairly traumatic for me.
Yeah. So was it just mainly the steroids that had the big effect on you in terms of weight gain? So how did the steroids make you gain weight?
So as I probably mentioned in other episodes, when I was diagnosed, I felt at the peak of my health, peak of my youth, you know, those are the best years, etc, and I was doing sport all the time. I was fit. I was within like a good BMI or whatever it may be. I've got quite a broad frame anyway, so like I'm not naturally like super lean. I'm naturally quite muscular, quite strong, quite broad, and that means like I can gain weight fairly easily. But what I normally, because I'm just tall, so I just look big. So like I weigh more. No, but like I'm taller. I'm like 5'10".
You would weigh more because of the height. Yeah.
I weigh more anyway. Like I'm not petite. I'm not a small frame. I'm just quite broad and strong, and I've got quite a lot of muscle in my legs and things. But when I was ill, went on chemo and went on the steroids, and within a month I put on about 3 stone and couldn't fit into any of my wardrobe, and that was so tough because I didn't change my eating to justify that. It was the steroids. I was on so much a day, and as well as the chemo and the medication, it was just a hit of toxicity. So weight gain was a massive fluctuation, and it was so difficult to shift. The only thing that was pulling me through was what nurses in hospital would say, that don't worry, after it will fall off and you'll lose it straight away as soon as you stop treatment. And that's another thing. In our last episode, if you haven't listened to or watched it already, we talk about remission and relapse. And the expectation is, as soon as you go into remission, all of these fears just dissolve.
They disappear.
They dissolve, they disintegrate, and they're gone, and you resume life. And body image doesn't go. Things like chemotherapy, or getting your cannulas in, or your PICC line, and having to shower and things like that. Yeah, that does go away because that's directly related to chemo. But the effects of it, such as body image, doesn't go, and it's a complete journey mentally and physically. So for me, I'm nearly 4 years in remission, and it's now just something I feel like I'm getting the balance of, and I still have peaks and troughs, and maybe it's kind of hard to tell, but sometimes I feel like mentally the dips are more of a dip now because of the hit it's taken. But I feel like I'm at a pretty steady place and a steady pace as well. But the body image thing took a while, and I feel like it does for a lot of people. And I felt, to be honest, I felt quite alone in it. I didn't feel like other people were getting the hit as much, which sounds silly, but it's because I looked at myself and I was like, wow, I look awful. I look so out of place compared to my friends that haven't had cancer. And even with those that have had cancer, they can fit in their clothes, or like a year after that they look great, or they're a size 8 or whatever. What the hell? How have I just catapulted into a completely new dress size and a completely new size, and I don't look like myself? I feel like other people do. So I found it tough completely. How did you feel with body image?
Yeah, I honestly felt exactly the same as you. So I was given steroids as well. They're all our best friends, not. And it's just strange because when I took the steroids, at first I thought, no, I'm going to not be that stereotypical cancer patient where I look like I've got hamster cheeks, but that's something you can't help. And yeah, I gained weight. I went up to a size 16, and none of my clothes...
You never looked like it though.
Yeah, I did.
You did not look like it. Like, I was a size... Oh God, I can't even believe this, but I can't even believe we're saying this.
Yeah.
Because for us, it's like massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just
exposing it. But I was like a size comfortably 16.
Yeah.
Like, and even then, like it was just hanging out. You
Yeah,
know, like,
yeah.
I'd wear things, and it was like I was chubby.
Yeah.
I was big.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I mean, the only things that I could wear was either pyjamas or leggings, and I didn't feel comfortable or confident in jeans. Not that I'd want to wear jeans to be comfortable around, because that people who wear jeans when they're just sitting around, I don't know how.
I'm wearing jeans.
No, but I mean, like, no, that's fine. Like, wearing jeans on a day is fine, but I mean, people who choose to have a lazy day wearing jeans, no. So, like...
I was going to say, I'm sitting here right now, like...
what are you doing?
Like, suffocated.
No, but honestly, yeah, so I could only really fit into leggings, or I just wore jogging bottoms or pyjamas. But I remember I had to buy new leggings to wear and I had to buy a size 16 because I couldn't fit into my average size, like normal size clothing, bottoms and stuff. And I remember one thing that really hit me was my cousin was getting married and I was bridesmaid, and I just finished intense treatment. My hair was growing back, still had all the weight, and I went for a bridesmaid's dress fitting, and she was like, right, we're going to order you a size 16 just because of your hips and around this area. And my heart just sank. And I'm not saying that size 16 is a bad size. Like, you should be comfortable in any size that you are.
But going from maybe 8,
it's
10,
not
12, whatever,
something
16.
Exactly.
Like,
so fast as well.
Yeah.
I definitely gained weight in like 3 months. Like, same as you. It all happened the same period of time in the same length. So yeah, I think it's just when people notice, and the fact that when she actually said to me, right, we're going to order you a size 16, it was like, oh my God, she's aware that I'm a size 16. What does everyone else think of me, and what do I look like to everyone else? And I think that definitely played a negative part. And it's true, when you have steroids and stuff like that, and the nurses say to you it will just slip off straight away once you get back into your normal routine. It doesn't. I've still got my weight. I mean, I've lost a lot of it now, but I'm still trying to lose it, you know?
I have a pouch.
Yeah.
I have a pouch.
Yeah, same. Like, it's the thing, I think it's the face as well. I mean, I think I've lost most of my face now, but to get that moon face down, it takes ages, and
it does take such a long time.
Yeah.
And I even feel now like it was, I always said it, but it was artificial weight.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like, people said, you just exercise some more and be in a calorie deficit, and I felt like that's no good because it won't shift. It's
No.
like cloud. I felt like when I touched it, I was like a marshmallow, whereas when you actually gain weight, it feels like fat.
Yeah.
And it never did for me.
No.
So when I came to lose it, it just felt so impossible.
Yeah. Did you get stretch marks from the steroids?
A few, but fortunately, like, not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
See, that's another thing that even now it really affects me. So all along my stomach, I've got stretch marks everywhere, but then I've also got scars from, it was really weird. So during my treatment, they just randomly popped up, and I was like, what is this? They were like little blood spots inside as well, so I was like, what is going on? So one of the doctors, do you remember Dr. Jess, the Australian?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so she checked, so one of the doctors, they checked it out for me, and they was like, it's completely normal, unfortunately, it's the steroids that have done that, and there's not really anything we can do that's gonna prevent you getting more or to get them to go away. So now I'm just literally left with all of these scars along my stomach.
Have you tried bio oil?
Yeah, no, it's just, it's one of those things where it just feels like, it's like loose skin, but it's everywhere, and I can't get rid of it. And it's just something that I'm learning to accept that they're there. But it's a huge thing where if I was to like show something, I would be so self-conscious in, oh my god, they're showing, my scars are showing.
The thing is, you would never know, because you're not big now, so like you would, like you're in my opinion really petite.
Oh no, I wish.
No, but you are, but so you would never know. So for you, that might be something that you think about more regularly, or every time you get changed, you're aware of it. But I would never know that. I would never know that.
No.
And like, even then, even if you wore a bikini and I saw you and you were like, oh, these are my stretch marks or whatever, you know, like, if you don't get them now, it's probably going to be when you're pregnant, God willing, in the future.
Yeah.
So like, it's just a matter of when, not if.
Yeah,
in my
true.
opinion. And if like, for instance, I feel like when I got ill, my body shape changed, so I wasn't that womanly really, but it might just have been it might just have coincided with kind of developing anyway. I don't know, because it will happen at the same time, and all of a sudden, like, bang, I've got hips.
You got that waist.
No, but I've got quite big hips.
Yeah,
like,
me too. Yeah.
I'm not straight up and down. I'm quite curvy, or whatever the name is. But that, I did get stretch marks on my hips, 100%. But it's so hard to know whether that was just through like body change anyway that was happening, or cancer caused that and stuff. So I don't know. My body did change, but I don't know if that's because I got cancer at 17 when I was changing into more of a woman anyway. So it's so hard to tell. But that makes the difference between before and after cancer. Yeah. Drastically different compared to maybe if I got it at 11 and my after was 14, or at 30 and 34, or whatever it may be. So it's so hard to tell. How do you feel looking at photos of yourself back then and seeing your body then?
I don't. I try everything in my power to not look at photos, and when I do, I don't know, because I feel like sometimes when I did go out, so if I went to a concert, not that happened often because of neutropenia and stuff, but if I was to go to a concert, which I know I did, or if I saw myself out with friends, or if I saw myself at charity events that had photos taken of me, I kind of give myself credit in a way, because I think, okay, you didn't, even though I did let it get to me, I tried to go about that by trying to do things, but at the same time, now I just think, well, that's not me, and I look like a completely different person. And I don't know, I sometimes wonder what other people would think, or what people would have thought of me back then. Not because I care, but just
because you feel like you look so different.
Yeah. How about you? Especially when you wear a wig and it all just looks so kind of fake.
I do hate looking at myself back then, because I don't even see me in struggle. I see me completely taken over by something poisonous. I see me, quite frankly, fat, overweight, bald, I saw me then, when I looked in the mirror back then, I literally cried because I couldn't recognise myself. I felt like I was gone. Something else had taken hold of me and taken over me, and I don't see myself. Like, the thing is, people are like, oh, it was you during chemo and stuff, don't worry, it's the process. But it wasn't me, like, in terms of the features that I had physically were gone because they're overtaken. I couldn't dress in the clothes that I liked because I couldn't fit into them. My personality was kind of almost rubbed away because my confidence had gone. I felt like I couldn't identify with that. So it's not that I'm saying it's not me because I'm in denial. It's not. I'm saying it's not me because I was in such a bad place, and it did such bad things to me physically that physically I didn't look like myself, and characteristically I was repressed and completely taken away, if that makes sense. So I don't, when I look at it, it just makes me cringe, through no fault of my own and through no fault of yours, obviously, when you look at yourself, but it just wasn't a good time, and all of those drugs did that to us. And at the time I remember thinking and always saying to people, this isn't me, like, give me a year, I'll be okay. And like, when I went to uni, and that's when first impressions are made, like 3 months after treatment. And the first thing I did, I was like, look, I had cancer, this is why I've got short hair, this is why I'm overweight. And they were like, wow, you're so courageous, you've said it straight away. And it was almost because I had to tell them, like, look, this isn't me, like, this is a disclaimer. And I met my partner, boyfriend, whatever it is, then, and I remember, like, I hate that word. No, but I remember being like, hold up, this isn't me. Like, if you actually get to know me, you'll realise. And like, he did. And now he says, God, back then, like, obviously I loved you for then and then, but I now realise, like, you were ill and that wasn't you, and now you are you. Now this is you. But at the time he thought that was me, and of course, because he didn't know me any differently. But I constantly felt the need to explain, oh God, physically, like, I didn't do this to myself. I didn't overeat to be like this. Like, it's medically what's caused this. And my personality was different because of it all. Like, I think body image can have a domino effect on so many other things, like mentally and personality-wise.
No, I completely agree with that. I went through the exact same thing. I felt like I had to tell people straight away because I also started university a tiny bit later, but I was during maintenance, so my hair was just growing back, but I started at a time, again, when it was very short and I hadn't lost all of my steroid weight. And I remember when I first started, my very first few days, I was scared that people wouldn't speak to me. And I know that's very kind of not thinking great.
No, but it's true. Like, you walk into a lecture theatre, you sit down, it's the first time you've been there, and all you want is comfort.
And people to like you and stuff.
And you're sitting there and you feel like you're on stage, and you're like, oh, for God's sake, like, don't judge me, this is horrible.
No, exactly. And I felt like that as well. And I remember I was so wary whether people would speak to me, and purely that would be because of the way that I looked. And when people did speak to me, I actually thought to myself, oh my God, like, Leanne, you're actually not an idiot, but you need to actually give people a chance, and you need to stop thinking like this, because people will speak to you for who you are and they don't care. But I also felt like I had to say, look, hi guys, I'm Leanne, I had cancer, this is not me. But I never did that, but I did tell people in time. But yeah, it's weird how it makes you feel like you need to tell everyone and alert everyone. I guess it's because it makes you feel so vulnerable.
Yeah, and I think that's the effect of body image during cancer. Body image is so drastically different to what your body image was before. Yeah. So you feel a need to explain to people. Yeah. Would you say overall that body image was kind of an issue for you then? Like a big one during those days, like chemo?
Yes and no. I mean, I went through a lot where actually body image is nothing, but in terms of mentally, yes, because I just I hated the way I looked, and for that reason I didn't want to go out. And I remember when I used to go into town, and if I saw somebody that I knew from school or anything like that, or just someone I knew in general, I'd put my head down and just be like, please don't see me, or don't speak to me, because I felt like I'd be embarrassed to actually speak to them. And I know in their mind that they'd look at me in a way where obviously we look different, obviously they know that stuff has gone down with us or me, and I know that they'd think that, but it's just that fear of people not judging you, but you just feel like because you're not you have to explain it to people. And I think my weight gain definitely had a massive impact on my mental health, just because it was out of my control, and no matter what I did, it wasn't budging, and it was just constantly gaining. And that's something that you just have to learn to accept, whether you do or don't.
Yeah, it's hard.
What about you?
I feel like it almost sounds silly when you say the weight gain made me feel this way.
Yeah.
And the reaction I got a lot of the time, even though I didn't say it out loud, but from my parent, like my mum or her friend or whatever, they'd say like you don't focus on that now, you've got like other things to focus on, don't worry, it'll come off, you know, as quickly as it came on. But the reality is, like, that's how it makes you feel. And I feel like if anyone gained that amount of weight with or without cancer, it would make them feel similarly. Like, it's massive to feel like you're not who you were before, especially if you haven't done anything to cause it. And for it to be medically induced, it felt really harsh, you know, to lose your appearance as well as to be going through all of this. Like, it feels like you're losing everything.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it's something you can't control, where when in a normal everyday life you put a little bit of weight on and you realise and you think, okay, I'll eat healthier, maybe do a bit more exercise, I can control that. Or just be happy with who you are, really. But yeah, in that situation when it's weird, because you go from being you to nothing in a matter of days, and it's just...
But it's interesting because our examples are...
They're nothing, really.
But it's body image in relation to weight gain.
Yeah.
I feel like body image is an expansive topic that can cover surgery, you know, whether losing like your boob for breast cancer, or like having a bag or something. Like, all of these things can affect body image, but that's why I say I'm quite blessed to not have experienced like those things.
I mean, ours were, I know for us they weren't minor, but somebody out there that's listening to this is probably thinking, wow. So we're not saying that, you know, it's the worst thing ever in terms of what you could get. In general, we know that we appreciate as well that there is so much worse out there, and obviously we're so grateful that we had what our kind of experience the way it was, just because we know it could have been worse. But it affects everyone in their own ways, so that's what
it's all down to you. I don't think you can compare, because, you know, one person might not be bothered about hair loss, another person can be really massively affected by it. How was hair loss for you? How did you react to that? And do you think the weight gain or the hair loss was the trigger for worrying about body image?
Hair loss more, I think, purely because it's weird, because my hair held on really tight for quite a long time. So when I had chemotherapy, they say it takes about 3 weeks, doesn't it, for you to lose your hair. And mine was well over like a month, maybe 2 months, and it just wasn't budging. So in the end, I just shaved it off, because I got so sick of thinking, right, it's going to be today, and then it's just that worry of that worried me a lot.
The thing is, was you ever going to lose it? Because sometimes you don't lose it.
Yeah, so it didn't come out as they say, where they say sometimes you wake up and it's just all off or whatever in clumps. Mine slowly kind of just was falling out in little bits, and it got to the point where I would be eating dinner and then it would all just fall in, but not like big clumps, it was just small little strands. You know, when you like brush your hair? So in the end, it got so frustrating that I just shaved it off. But I think the thing that did it for me was when I went into maintenance, my hair was supposed to grow back, and it did grow back, and it grew back really nice and curly. It was getting to that afro stage where I was like, oh my God, it's finally coming back. And something really weird happened where I became neutropenic from the chemotherapy I was having. The chemotherapy itself wasn't affecting my hair loss. But what happened was, and actually, you know what, I think we went to Bournemouth. So me and Beth went on a trip to Bournemouth, and at this point, that was fun. So yeah, at that kind of period of time, I was neutropenic, not then, but around a bit before, and I lost my hair again, and bits and clumps started to come out, and I was devastated because it just got back to a length that I was like, oh my God, it's finally growing back. I look a little bit human again. And it just came off in patches, and it was awful because I was in denial that I was actually losing it again. And I was thinking, I'm having chemotherapy where my hair grows back. Why is it falling out? And then it was confirmed it was because I was neutropenic quite a lot of the time.
Right.
So it was killing off all the cells, like the hair cells or whatnot. And at first, I used to buy, do you know, like you have the kind of like spray hair thing where it's like coloured, so you can, if you've got any bald patches, you can just spray it, and it's just, so I used to use that, but then my hair got so thin where I'd lost a lot of it that actually it was looking a bit obvious and it looked a bit stupid. And by the time that me and Beth went to Bournemouth, I think, didn't I have like half of my head, or like wasn't half of it short, and then I had like little long strands and it just looked pathetic.
Yeah, I think it was falling out then, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it got to, I think it was just after that where I just thought to myself, I can't continue because I'm so uncomfortable looking like this and living like this. I might as well just shave it off for a second time. So I did it again, and that really upset me that time. And that was around, it was annoying because that was when I was just about to start university. So again, I felt like I'd been stripped with my identity. So yeah, I think because of the fact that I lost it at a time when I shouldn't have, that's what got to me a lot more than weight.
You probably wasn't psyched up to lose it again.
No, well, no, that's the thing, because you don't hear of people really that lose it to neutropenia. So when the nurses psych you up that it's gonna grow back, and obviously it's not their fault whatsoever, and it does grow back, and you're like, oh my god, yeah, I'm looking human, amazing, and then for some annoying reason you just become neutropenic all the time, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because you know your treatment's working, but at the same time, for it to make you lose your hair again when it doesn't happen, you know, like I've been neutropenic so many times and haven't lost my hair, and just this one time that I was, and it decided to kill off the hair cells, that's what massively, I think, put me in quite a bad place, I guess.
Yeah, that it is hard. That I can imagine that would have been really hard.
Yeah, it was frustrating, but I mean, you just have to get on with it, don't you? And when I learnt that actually people would accept me at university for me and actually treat me as Leanne, not an
I've got long short
yeah,
hair.
exactly. So that gave me a big confidence boost, and I mean, it grows back. At the end of the day, I know that I took a big hard hit into losing my hair, but there is a lot of worse things that could have happened. So yeah, what about you?
It is tough though, because you grow impatient. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
I wanted my hair long now, like, and to think it's going to take 2.5 years, like, imagine for those that haven't lost their hair, like, imagine I've always had long hair and then you lose it, and the only time you're going to have long hair, and for me feel comfortable again, is in 2.5 years time. So you have to sit and wait for 2.5 years,
and it never feels like it's growing, does it? And then all of a sudden one day, like, you get the little spikes.
Yeah, but even like mine was growing, like my friends will say at uni, because they saw my hair growth process really from like buzz cut short to like what it is now, it felt like short for so long, and then it just grew, and then this phase from like a bob to like long to like actually hanging went so fast. But that's because it feels like it was so long at the start, because every day I was like, has it grown yet?
Yeah. Can I put it up in a ponytail yet? Did you ever go through that where you kept testing?
Yeah. And I was at uni when that happened, when that milestone happened, and I remember I came in with like one little ponytail like that,
sticking up,
and my friend with like, I had like 100 clips in, like it literally wasn't like enough for a ponytail, but I remember I was like clipping them back like that, and then like one tiny sprouting ponytail, and I was like, I have a ponytail.
Yes. That is like a milestone, I think, when you can put it up in a ponytail. That is like a celebration.
Definitely. And then after, when I got to a point where I was kind of semi-comfortable, I didn't think about it as much, and then it's just growing and growing and growing, and then I take a step back and I'm like, wow, like it's here, this at this length. And yeah, the hair thing was a massive part for me, because I've never even had like a long bob, like I've never even had long short hair like that. So when I cut it before shaving it off, that even was like, oh gosh, like it's so short. I'm not used to short hair at all. But I think the weight gain combined with it, that was like hitting me in two places that are most vulnerable. They're like my worst nightmare for both, really.
How did you cope with it, or what ways did you cope?
No, I think that's the hardest thing. I think that was the hardest part of my journey, my whole recovery. because it affected me mentally. So physically and mentally, it was a battle. It's hard to say how I coped because like it's an ongoing process and it's just waiting really. It's waiting for it to be okay again. Waiting, I think you gradually get more and more comfortable until you realise one day, like now, I'm comfortable now. Like yes, like I'm still normal. I'm not like strutting down the street like
you gotta strut like you mean it. Have you ever seen Cheer Girls?
No, but
oh damn it.
You go for it. I'm sure someone out there has. You're on your own.
Disney Channel fans, you know.
But no, I was a Freeview girl. How sad is that?
Oh, you know what? I was to a point as well, and then we got Disney, and I was like,
prestige.
yeah.
But yeah, like obviously it's an ongoing process. Like yeah, I'm not like hyper confident. Like some days I'm like yeah, and then the other days I'm like cool.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a great one. But you know but that's just me saying like oh maybe like it's a not great hair day or like critiquing myself slightly, but within normal levels that everyone else does really. But yeah, I think those two things were massive things. And before, like I think I never would have thought that it would have mentally have got to me that much, because before I'd associate myself with being quite mentally strong, and even now I'm quite rational. I'm quite like on it. Like my friends always used to say I'm a plodder along. Like I'm quite like reliable. Like I'll be there. I'll do this. Like I'm not
smooth.
Yeah. But in terms of I'd never really dip too much where like I'm erratic behaviour. I don't really have an addictive personality where I'm like up down. I like just a casual momentum. But cancer brought in the erratics. Like with body image. Like it was tough. There was tough times, and the reason why I talk about it quite okay now and manage it okay is because I know that I've gotten through it and it's past the worst times. But at the time I don't think I would have been able to talk about it. No. Because I already felt stripped back, not having hair and having no control of my weight. So I literally was out there looking like this, and I don't even want to look like this at home in my room with no one to see.
Yeah, completely.
So yeah, it was tough. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to go to events. I didn't want to make friends. Because this is me right now. In a year or two when this is done, then yeah, like I'll do all of that. But it's hard because you have the contradiction between continuing life and getting out of that rut, and your body being in such a way that you don't ever want to go out. You don't want to go to a bar at night and take a photo there and put that on Instagram or whatever. Or you don't want to meet new people. Or you don't want to go on a first date and all of those things. But then the contradiction is, if you don't do that, are you going to have 5 years with your curtains closed in your bedroom? Yeah. So you have to find like a happy momentum and a happy kind of equilibrium between the two, whereby you're comfortable to an extent. For me, I was never fully comfortable, while still continuing your life. Yeah. And it's hard. You just can't be hard on yourself. No. It was a tough time. It was a tough time.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I know you used to wear a lot of headscarves, didn't you? And you didn't really wear your wig as much.
Yeah, like I could never go out with a bald head, never. No. But I found my wig so uncomfortable and so hot, and like it was like a really tight swimming hat that was a net and itchy, and it was just horrible. I also felt like it looked fake. I didn't really like gel with it that much, but I could never wear nothing. So it was hard. I wore like little hats, but they were just like horrible. I never really was happy with what I did with that.
See, we were completely different, because where you wore the headscarves, I couldn't I think I was in a little bit of denial. Obviously I knew that I had no hair, but
had to wear your wig.
I had to wear my wig. There was no way that I could step outside the house without, even at the hospital, I'd wear my wig on the way to hospital, and then I would take it off, and then I know I'd be in a place where I fitted in. But I remember it got to the point where I became so obsessed with wearing my wig that on an actual charity day out to Fort Park, I wore my wig, and I went on all the roller coasters wearing my wig, and
Did it stay on?
Yeah, well, I was holding my wig like that. So when we went on, do you know the Stealth? Have you been to the Fort Park? So I went on Stealth. I don't know how I managed to keep it on, but I remember holding onto the sides as well as holding it, and I was pulling my hair down tight like that, or the wig tight like that. So when I don't know how I managed to put it on.
I can literally imagine that video. Like, imagine, what's the one where it's like Rita or something? Is it Rita or is that Alton Towers?
I think it might be Alton Towers.
When it's just like 3, 2, 1, and it propels it. It's like 80 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Imagine just like your holding a wig, but it comes off at the top.
Well, you know what, right? Well, there was there's one called Samurai, I think, and it's like, have you been on Samurai where it's just like I don't know, it's, how do I explain it? It's like a spinning thing, but then it's all separate seats, and then you also it just throws you like that. And I remember I was holding on to it as tight as I could, as well as my wig, and my wig was slowly slipping off at the back, like at the front. So when I finished, my wig was half like up here. And I pulled it off though, done it, went on every single ride wearing it, and it didn't come off like the way, I don't know.
How did you do that? Imagine someone behind you in the row behind just
Oh,
getting
they
a
must
weave
have thought I was
in the
weird.
middle.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Just getting a weave in the middle of the ride.
Or like on a roller coaster, go upside down, it just falls.
Yeah, or it comes off at the top and you catch it at the bottom.
Oh my god, amazing. Yeah, so it's weird how we all deal with it. I mean, some of us, I don't know, but yeah, I just couldn't take it off.
Yeah, I get it. It's hard. Like, I could wear my hat. I couldn't go out bald, no way.
No.
But I couldn't go to certain places. Like, I wore my hat, like, to the hospital or out and about just because it was comfortable, and I was just fed up wearing, like, a hot cat thing on my head, because that's what it felt like. I felt like I just had, like, an animal on my head.
Oh, and you used to get so itchy.
But I couldn't go, like, out. And for people that aren't Essex, out means like
outside.
Yeah, like it means out to a bar, to a club.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like going out, you going out. So like out, I couldn't go to like a club, a bar, or like just anything kind of formal on a Friday or Saturday night in like a little beanie hat or something. I wouldn't feel feminine enough.
Yeah. Did you go out while you were on treatment?
No way. I didn't want to go out, let alone out.
Out. That's the one. Out. Yeah, I mean, I went out one time, and I wore my wig there actually. When I look back at pictures for that, there's and you know they take official pictures and stuff. The club.
I hate those.
Same, but there was I remember coming across the picture because they did take one, and oh my god, you can just so tell my wig is fake. But I think in a way I just like give myself credit that I actually went out like that.
Good for you.
But at the same time,
good for you.
Oh god.
I look back at early pictures and I cringe as well. But so this just shows that clearly body image was a thing for us, and it kind of is now. Like, it's just something we're always conscious of.
No, definitely. And I'm sure there's so many more of you that have your own stories.
Okay, so let's introduce our guests. Now we have got Hannah and Emma. We'll speak to both and let's see what they've got to say too.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you have listened to us speak about our body image and how we felt during cancer and life after cancer. We are now going to hear from the lovely Hannah, who is going to talk to us about her experience with her body image while she was going through treatment.
So I'm Hannah. I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia at 13. I'm now 20. I'm still an ambassador for Teenage Cancer Trust, so go and talk about it and help raise awareness really. And I'm at uni in my last year studying history. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So in terms of like body image and like relating to this kind of stuff, this must take you all the way back, because for you body image must have changed as a 13-year-old and right after as well.
Oh, right. So last time that you interviewed me, we didn't know this. I've gained like a lot of weight, and I thought it was uni, and I've started going to the gym for 3 hours a day, and I wasn't losing anything, and I was really tired. I went to the doctor and I gave all my symptoms, and the doctor was like, you know that this is like a full checklist for if you're relapsing. And I was like, what? Like, I'm not dealing with this now. Like, we can't be having this. And so like she was like, I'll put you for an emergency blood test. The blood test was 2 days later, and like us three know emergency blood tests are like in the hour, and it turned out that I have an underactive thyroid. So like body image is still like, in a way, kind of still haunts me from it, because as a side of like sometimes your thyroid gets attacked from chemotherapy. So like I thought I was all done with it, but it turns out it's just a ongoing thing. And like I thought pills were finished, I thought everything. I literally had to buy a pill pot to put all my pills in. I'm now taking 4, and it's like it's never stopped.
No, that's the exact thing that I always hear. It's like when you go through chemotherapy, you think that's when the side effects take place, but it's actually It can be
After.
lifelong, it can be years after. So you said like the thyroid, it can be caused by the chemotherapy. So is that something that is directly related to your cancer and your cancer treatment?
No, because there's been some study. I'm trying to get it so that the glare of my phone doesn't hit my glasses. Sometimes there is a scientific link, but with mine it wasn't. It was just, I think my thyroid just decided to pack up and just had enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like the difference between be at 13, like I hadn't even hit puberty. Like everyone else was getting thinner, getting boobs, getting like looking like a girl should look, I guess, in a way. Like, and then there was me, like I had my portacath put in my boob, and then it meant that like I have hit a late puberty now. So I had one boob that was a size A and one boob that was a size C. And then as soon as like chemo was over and I was in remission, it took a couple of years, my boobs just grew. And it was like I'd not had, I guess, the natural and normal experience of a puberty because I took that.
Yeah.
But like fine now, they're still a bit uneven, but like it was a drastic thing. Like you could have cut me in half and it would have been like a before and after of like boob surgery or something. But like even with steroids especially, I just looked like a chipmunk for the whole time. And that was the worst thing. That and like I don't know if either of you had it, but when you get really hot and you get really red, and it because of the steroid, and it was like, it was so embarrassing because my friends would be like, why are you going red? Are you hot? Are you blushing? Are you embarrassed? I'm like, literally, it's this steroid. Like I cannot control that I look like I've piled on the blusher today because I genuinely haven't. It was like things like that.
You can't do anything about it either, no matter how healthy you eat or rubbish you eat. You just gain all of this weight from nowhere in no time whatsoever. It's like you go skinny and you wake up like a balloon.
But then my predicament is like, yes, it happens so quickly. But then the advice I got from the nurses and that in hospital was you might as well eat whatever you want because you can't control your weight. But then that for me, like looking back, just isn't the best advice because although the steroids loads of weight, like you're really ill. So living off a diet of like, you know, pizza, chips, like McDonald's and stuff, that just makes me feel crap now, and I'm healthy. So yeah, it's a real catch-22 because you feel like you're going to gain the weight anyway, so you're tempted to just eat rubbish.
Oh well, did you guys both go on T12?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know, there's McDonald's straight opposite. And I remember for the first week, my dad was literally buying me McDonald's. And then when it was like, yeah, you're going to be in here for a month, I was like, right, I can't live on McDonald's. And then I knew people. So my first, like, best friend who passed away, Tom, he had a cancer that only like 14 people in the UK get a year. And I cannot, for the life of me, say it. And I don't want to get it wrong, but when he took steroids, he didn't get hungry. And I was like, well, could you take mine? Because I'm like, I want to eat everything and the fridge, and you don't want to eat anything, and you are skinny. And I was literally like, this is not fair.
Did you find that you just ballooned? Because I felt like I ballooned and it didn't justify the amount that I was eating.
I ballooned. Firstly, it was my face that was the worst. My body was fine. So when I wore my wig, you can obviously cover your face a bit so it doesn't look as like prominent. But I also ballooned in size because of my blood clots. So I had one size of me was a size 22, and one side of me was a size 10. And I was literally like so embarrassed that I had to be in like size 22 pajamas, like, and I was 13. Like I shouldn't have been that size because I felt like I was part of a freak show. I was like, you might as well just put me in Trafalgar Square and like the living before and after picture of somebody on a diet, because it was horrendous. And like it took so much. I couldn't exercise because I couldn't breathe properly because there were blood clots in my lungs, and like I was so out of breath. I remember, you know, down Warren Street, there's Paper Chase.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been there after?
Me, I
Like,
have.
after
Guilty.
there was a point where I could only walk to there, and like now when I go for consultant, I'm happily walking up to Oxford Street, and it's like it really put it in perspective. Like I couldn't exercise to lose either steroid fat or because I couldn't exercise anyway. And for what I was eating, my mum made sure that I was healthy. I had no sugar, like, or I had natural sugars, but I didn't have like things that were high in sugar because of having steroid-induced diabetes. So like I couldn't eat what I wanted to. The McDonald's went very quickly. Like I couldn't eat it because my blood sugar was like going through the roof.
Yeah.
And it was just,
And that sounds like so drastic and artificial as well. Like artificial in the sense of it's not like a natural weight gain. Obviously, like the blood clots going into you is your body, but that just must have been so hard. How did you react to that, especially being at school and being in your teenage years?
Well, with my treatment, you obviously had the average, like, well, I say average, like the normal regime of a month in hospital, and then you're meant to go and then come back like every day, every week. Mine was, I had a month, I was home for a week, and then had another month in hospital. And then so I didn't even get back to school until they were happy that I was taking Fragmin, which is a horrible drug. I hate that. Oh, it was horrible. I had to be injected every 12 hours.
Yeah,
so my mum would get me up at 6 for school and inject me, and then I'd be injected at 6 in the evening. So it meant I could still go to school. Like, and like when I first went back, everyone was kind of like, "Oh, she's back," and "Oh, why have you got short hair?" I'm like, have you got an idea? Like if you don't, that's fine, but like don't ask me. And then I remember somebody was like, "Oh my God, Hannah, your hair looks amazing. You've dyed your hair." And I was like, "This is not my real hair. Like, thank you so much.
Yeah,
this is not my real hair."
You were 13 as well. So being asked about your hair or your wig at 13, how did you deal with it? Because I like 16, 17, that's scary as it is. But 13, what do you say?
Oh my God. It got to a point where I was like, if I'm getting attention, I might as well turn it from negative to positive. So when I got hot and I had a hot sweat, I would just whip my wig off. And like, I feel so sorry for like the supply teachers. I always remember I was sat in physics and I was baking hot. And we had a supply teacher who was horrendously bad at physics. And I was just like, gonna take it off, whipped it off. And the woman just looked at me like, what? Like, pardon? And she just stared at me for a good 5 minutes. And at that point, I was just like, well, if I'm having attention, we might as well bring it into positive attention. And like, especially about the hair, like my first boyfriend who I was with, like properly, I was with him for 4 years. When we first like started talking, funny enough, over Skype, I used to go to bed with my wig on because I was so embarrassed of the fact that I didn't want him to see me without hair. And then when he saw me without hair, he was like, "You look stunning. Like, why did you hide this from me? I think you look like beautiful." And like even showing Alex pictures of my hair now, of like not this hair, my like lack of it, he's like, "Well, if you did that again, you'd look stunning. You look fine." And that was a massive confidence boost. Aww. Because like I look like a tennis ball. And like just the little bits of fluff, and I was just like, that somebody thinks that I look nice without the thing that I thought made me, but I can do anything. So I got through chemo.
Also, I think interesting you said that. You go from feeling negative to, if people think that I'm attractive without the thing that I thought defines me as attractive, then you're like, it's like you having to use makeup because you feel like you're not beautiful without, and then someone sees you without makeup and they're like, "You look incredible." Now all of a sudden you have a positivity because your hair doesn't mean much anymore, in a sense. So that's really nice to hear.
Well, it's like even now when it's like hot, like it was yesterday, and like even before, I have threatened to my mum being like, "Oh, I'll just shave my head," and she's like, "You'd actually do it now. That's the worry. Like you would actually just take the beard trimmer and just go zoom." And like before I would have been like, oh, my hair, I love my hair. And now it's just like, it's temporary. But that whole thing with my chemo treatment was I had to turn negative into positive because, and like, it's either I laugh about it or I'm going to cry. And I don't have time to cry. So we laugh. And we, like, especially with my mum, like everything was there. She didn't leave my side, especially my dad as well. But there's just certain things where I'll say something to her and we laugh about it now. But like at the time we would have been like, oh my God, what is happening? Why are we doing this?
I like that. I like what you said as well about, so it makes you define your beauty in a different way. You're more comfortable because of it. And you realise it's temporary. Like, it's frustrating because at the time I remember thinking, how long is it going to take until my hair is at the length where I'm comfortable? And I thought, oh God, that's 3 years. I can't wait 3 years. But then you're forced to think, I've got to make the best of it right now. So you have to love yourself in a different way.
And the thing is, as well, you get to all of your stages. Like you see your hair grow through all of the stages. So you're like, one day, if it's down here, you're like, okay, well, I can cut it there again if I really like it. You've seen yourself bald. You've seen yourself with boy hair. So you know what you look like now. So it's at least we know, you know, it's a nice feeling.
Like you know what's actually on your head.
Like, we didn't get the choice, but we got to see the whole process now, and like if we ever want to go back there, we know what we're gonna look like.
And that's
like,
so would you positive. So would you say what do you think is the best thing that came of it in terms of body image, in terms of a lesson, and what do you think is kind of the worst thing, like the biggest struggle?
Out of mine or just mine?
Just out of your experience.
I mean, the positive is temporary. Like if I get a haircut now, because I stress cut my hair, like when I'm like, I go through bits where I'm like, I need my hair short, I hate how long my hair is, and then I cut it and it's uneven. I'm like, it's temporary, it's gonna go back, it's fine. And the most negative thing I think for me is, this sounds really, I don't know, is the stretch marks. Oh my God. From having size 22 one size and size 10, it means that all down my right thigh I have stretch marks still now, and they're not as red as they were. Obviously it's been 5 for remission years. But I got so like embarrassed by it when I went swimming and like whatever, that when I've had my tattoos, I've had them so they've covered them. Like, I know they'll go down, I know whatever, but it's just like, for me, it's just like at the start, I always remember it. It looked like Wolverine had just taken me as a scratching post, and like it was so embarrassing. Like getting changed for PE on the odd times that I would do it when I didn't use cancer as an excuse, which was great because I didn't have to be in the pouring rain. And people saw it. It was like, oh my God, Hannah, are you all right? And it's like, yeah, I'm fine, but this is still here. And like, for me, that was the worst bit. That and having steroid-induced diabetes was horrendous, but that was the worst bit. The after bit, like, because no one saw me when I was in a wheelchair and couldn't walk, because I told people I didn't want them visiting me. I didn't want anyone to see me like that. And only family saw me. And so, but it was the after bit when people be like, oh my God, are you all right? Like, what's happened? Are you hurting yourself? And it's like, I'm not hurting myself. It's just, I've got this. And the scar as well from my podcast. Having girls come up to me, I remember, especially 18, 17, and we go to parties and I've wear low tops and they'd be like, oh, somebody's got a hickey very badly. And it's like, it's not a hickey. It's a chemo. And then they'd feel horrendous for saying it. And it's just like, it's fine. But I'd rather not have it if I could have had the choice. But in the grand scheme of things, I mean, a very small scar for what I have my life back in the end there is no comparison.
Yeah, I can completely relate to that, because I've got scars from steroids on my stomach, and now when I go on holiday or just in general, I'm afraid to show off my stomach because they are everywhere, and it's not, for me anyway, it's not attractive, and I haven't learned to love them yet. And I've got a podcast scar as well, and for me, like, my one still pokes out quite a bit. Like, the disc isn't in there anymore. I've had it all like removed now, but mine still pokes out, and I've still got the line that, you know, the line that goes.
Oh my god,
I've
I
got
still
that.
have it.
Yeah.
When I shower and I touch it, I'm like, no, like I don't want to touch it.
But for me, it's just like a reminder that that's what I went through. Like that always reminds me, okay, you've had cancer. But again, like you said, it's such a small price to pay for what other side effects we could have had in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that. Thank you so much for chatting and for sharing so honestly. Like, there's nothing more refreshing than someone just saying it how it is, and giving perspective as well. Like, it sometimes when you're in your own head thinking about like your body image, you can pull yourself apart sometimes. But if you hear like other people saying, yeah, I've got stretch marks, or yeah, like I blew up, I ballooned, then you know it's not always rosy for everyone. So thank you so much.
I really liked how you turned it into a joke as well. Like everything you think of that everyone else would probably be distraught about, you a joke, and that's such a nice way to deal with it, I think.
Yeah, it was perfect.
If it was the positive about appearance, I think my humour has completely changed from being ill. Like, even people who meet me now who knew me back then, they're like, you've changed so much. And I'm like, well, I had to. I couldn't stay being 13 just because I had chemo. Like, it took me a lot. And, like,
you grow up. Yeah. You grew up at that point anyway, and you went through a massive thing whilst your friends were growing up.
Yeah. We just grew up and then had to grow back down again. We grew up and went all the way and then had to come back and be teenagers and be 20 again.
Yeah, exactly.
But thank you for having me on here, and thank you.
Oh, pleasure. Well, that was really nice from Hannah. It was really good to hear a different perspective, because I know we spoke a lot about weight changes and physically changing. I know for myself I didn't really touch upon surgery that much because I haven't been affected by it. So it's really good to see a different perspective. And on that point, we are now going to talk to Emma to see what she has to say about how physically she has changed and how she's living with that after cancer.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm 26 and from East London. Actually went to the same school as Leanne.
Hey.
Fucking Abbey represent. And at the end of 2017, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and celebrated a year having no evidence of disease at the start of August. Woo!
Good. Whoop, whoop.
We love celebrating.
Yeah.
And I'm now a Trek Stock Young Adult Ambassador, so...
Yeah, that's fun. It's actually quite recent then, isn't it? Like, when you said 2017, I thought, God, blimey, that was only 2 years ago. Like, that's quite recent. So, like, what kind of... so, thinking about kind of this topic of body image, how has that changed your body image? Because I'm just assuming it must be quite different in many aspects compared to myself and Leanne.
Sorry, I couldn't see you properly. My glasses are a bit...
No, that's all right. I'm as blind as a bat, really. I've got contact lenses in.
I think you don't mind, to be fair.
Showing the contact lenses. No, I think before cancer, I didn't really have a relationship with my body. It was just kind of like this thing. Just this thing I had. Probably the only sort of connection I had to it was with my hair. With being having this big red hair that I had since started dyeing it when I was about 12. So it was kind of part and parcel of me. Like a lot of people from school actually who I'd met since leaving were like, "Oh, you're the one with the big red hair. You were her." And I was like, "Oh, clearly I'm known for it as well." But no, it definitely changed with being diagnosed. So I had chemo first, and I was really ill with chemo. If the chemo could have a side effect, I was going to get it, kind of thing. And I ended up in hospital 3 times with neutropenic sepsis, and it was the last. After coming out the last time from it, I found myself just sitting in the bath and just feeling, how do I put it? It was the first bath, like proper bath I've been able to have in about a week because I've been in hospital.
Yeah.
I felt so comfortable from being, feeling clean and being at home. And I found myself just looking at my legs, and I had all these bruises and little pin pricks from the blood Finids, the injections to stop you from getting clots while you're in patient.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh my God, you're going through so much. That my body, it just sort of hit me that it was really suffering. Every 3 weeks, it was having all these horrible chemicals put into it. And it was going through all this stuff. It wasn't just me as a person going through it. It was my body as well. And I found myself feeling so grateful to my body that even though things had gone wrong and it had developed cancer, and even though it wasn't handling the chemo very well, it was still getting me up in the morning. It was still allowing the antibiotics to work when I was in hospital with sepsis. It was allowing the chemo to work and all these other drugs to work to get rid of the cancer. And I just found myself being so thankful that it was doing that. And it was letting me have the chance to live. And I remember looking at my legs and going, thank you so much. I promise I'll look after you and be a lot nicer to you in the future.
That's so nice. I love hearing that. I feel like it's just like
Isn't it?
chocolate to my taste buds. Like it's just so true. It's so true. Like why do we not praise ourselves more? Like our bodies have got through that. Like right now, they're not perfect, no, but like it's our vehicle that carries us. So I really like that.
Yeah, no, it's the thing that houses all the important stuff. Not just physical health, but all the things that make us who we are, like our personalities and our interests. It's more than this thing. I think we sometimes think about it too much as this physical thing, and should probably, well, to me, I want to think of it more as a home to all the things that make up who I am, and beyond the way it looks.
Yeah, I think that's what I aspire to feel as well. I think we can get obsessed with looking at it like a picture, like it's two-dimensional, like especially with social media. Social media has its benefits 100%, but it's almost like looking through a glossy magazine as well, where it is like the nicest legs, the nicest bikini body, the nicest this, and then you forget like, oh, I've had cancer and this has carried me, it's my home, like you say, because you are comparing yourself to what is a glossy magazine. It doesn't represent your real vehicle. I like that. Do you think any side effects has led you to that? Because that is quite a really positive mindset. Is there something like, are there side effects like surgery or weight gain that, or anything that might have caused you to feel like that?
I think for me, it was definitely how bad I used to feel when I had sepsis. And feeling of, like, I don't know if either of you had ever had neutropenic sepsis, but when I had it, I could feel my body deteriorating. I could feel things kind of like shutting down, and it was really scary. But then once the IV antibiotics got in my system, I could feel it was like things were switching back on again, and I could feel myself getting back up, getting better. And it was that appreciation of that, and appreciation of feeling a bit more human. So I guess it would be mostly that feeling of complete and utter, oh God, what's happening? This is terrifying. To being able to open my eyes again or sit up again, even those tiny things like that.
Could you sorry, go on, Leanne.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I had neutropenia sepsis as well, and I was in hospital for it. And at the very start, I could barely do anything. I couldn't walk. I had to be assisted to go to the toilet, all things like that, couldn't eat. And it's amazing when you have the antibiotics and in a matter of days, how your body just begins to strengthen again. And I think I like that perspective. I think people need to start actually thinking positively like that and think, well, hey, actually, look, my body is doing this, rather than constantly putting negative thoughts in your head. Like, I don't know, my legs are too big, or
Yeah, I think it's like with anything though, it's like just a common mantra is there's always going to be someone or something that's better than you in a certain sense. So it can be about your body, like you can just torment yourself about so many things. It can be how smart you are, or how many books you read, or how many places you've visited. There's always someone that's done more. And if you constantly obsess with being the best, having the best body, or why are my legs not this, or why am I not this height, or whatever it may be, you can't do anything about it. Like, you'll never be happy. And I think that's what you do. That's why you do it. You just strive to be happy, but actually focusing on what you have got will lead you to the happiness that is more long lasting, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that we're kind of programmed to put ourselves down. And so it's when you're going through treatment, it's especially easy to do that, because all these things that you could do before, you can't do. And it does feel like it's never going to end.
Yeah.
Things are never going to go back. And so it's just easy to put yourself down. And it takes a lot more effort to pick yourself up.
Definitely. But I like how you've got to that point. So you, like most of us, or like all of us probably, we've all had our roughs when it was during the cancer, when you didn't know what the other side would involve, and you've probably gone through those roughs of side effects of like hair loss or surgery and neutropenia, like you said, neutropenia, sepsis, and it's been so difficult that you've eventually got yourself back up, and now you're at a point where you look back and think, like, my God, I've been through that. So I can only praise my body for that.
Yeah, it's not one of the, how to put it, it's definitely a process, and one that I trip up on, and I have my days where I might look at my belly and be like, well, I wish you were a little less flabby, like,
we all.
I was just gonna say that.
Like, I'm not some kind of, that image that a lot of like the cancer models have, that we come out of it and we're like all enlightened.
I am 100% fulfilled.
Like, no, I'm not like that. It's definitely it's definitely a process, and there's like the days where like I feel like I'm living it, it, thinking more positively about myself. Then there's the other days where it's just like, well, either the way something looks or because of the way something feels, it affects how I think about my body.
Yeah.
Like the fatigue and stuff.
But sometimes you just have those days, like, you're human. Like, they're not always rational. Like, sometimes you just got to write off the day and be like, do you know what, today I'm not inspirational, or I'm not positive, or I'm not like Wonder Woman. It's come out and I just love my body and I love everything. That's just how it is.
Have to be like, I want to have a down day. I want to watch a film that's going to make me cry. That's definitely me. I'm one of those people where if I'm going to have a down day, I'm going for
it.
Yeah.
Get the snacks in.
Yeah, you got to let yourself sit in those feelings, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely.
A little bit, because if you pretend they're not there, they're just going to end up coming back harder, last longer,
Yeah. So when we spoke about body image, the first thing that comes to my mind, and I always think it's the first thing that comes to everyone else's mind as well, but it's not, is weight gain. Like, I'm just quite solid. Like, all my whole life as a kid, it was like, oh, she's strong, and it's like, do you know what I mean? It's like strong. It's like bordering on solid, And I gained so much weight during like cancer. It's just unrecognizable, and I constantly look around and think, like, how did no one else gain as much weight to me? Like, that was a massive thing for me. Is there one thing that was your massive thing in terms of body image? Like, if it's weight, if it's hair, if it's scarring?
Oh, I don't know if there was like one massive thing. Like, at first, not having my red hair, not even that it was hair, it was the colour. That took a minute to sort of come to terms with. because I'd had the red hair for so long, and it was so part of my identity that losing the red was hard. I'd find myself tripping up. So I'd always say to people, like if I'd be out with my family in like a shopping centre, it was really packed, I'd say to them, oh, if you can't see me, look out for the tall one with the big red hair. And I'd go to say it. I'd go look out for the tall one with the big, oh, can't say that. I'm bald. Like, but yeah, no, probably that one was, that took a bit of time to get used to. I had sort of I don't want to use the word lucky, because nothing about this is lucky, but relatively lucky in that I found something that really helped me with my body image right at the start. So it meant that I didn't end up looking at myself and thinking, oh my God, you've lost all your hair, you've lost your eyebrows, your eyelashes, you're covered in pinpricks and bruises and things like that. You're awful, like, ugh. Because like I spoke to you about it before, I started watching Drag Race, and it was watching the different drag queens create their personas and go from their male appearing selves to these female appearing selves. And I kind of had this sort of, I can do that. Just because all this is happening doesn't mean I can't turn myself into this person who looks well and who looks pretty. I realised that just in the way that they're making an identity, I was able to define what my identity and beauty was during that process, during cancer.
Yeah.
And so to me then it didn't mean that being bald had to equal I wasn't good enough or I wasn't pretty enough. I could put on my red lipstick and try to put on my eyebrows and a nice outfit, and that will give me that sort of confidence of put my shoulders back, head high, I can do this.
It's out. Yeah. But the thing is, it's like what you said. I think if you look deeper into that as well, it's all about reclaiming power. It's like doing what you can. So I know some people like really go hard on exercise through chemo, and I think about that and I thought, whew, God, I feel knackered thinking about it. I don't know how you do that, but that's their way of saying I can do this, I am in control. And I think with like makeup and your clothes is all part of making you feel good and creating your identity and not letting cancer take your identity.
Yeah, and I like that because I think a lot of people felt, I definitely did. I think when you go through something like cancer, I was the type of person that couldn't be bothered to do my makeup, who couldn't be bothered to look, I was going to say do my hair, but I didn't have any hair. I got dressed up and I just lost myself through that process, and I think that a lot of people do, which is fine, but it's nice that you was able to pick yourself back up and actually feel good by doing those things. Yeah, people do.
It's good that you could come to that, because my opinion was I'm so far gone, like you can't help me, like in terms of like I've gained so much weight, I've lost all my hair, like there's just no point, because it's just so like for instance, I was so pale and so fat, basically getting a spray tan or something, I'm just gonna be less pale but still fat, like in terms of I felt like my appearance really took a dive. So like you, Leanne, I didn't really take care of myself because I just thought like you just don't think much of yourself because you lost yourself so much. There hasn't been small changes, it's been a massive change, which is quite sad really. And that can create physical and mental
kind of giving up really
struggle.
In some weird way. Not giving up as in your desire to carry on with treatment, not your desire, but your willingness to carry on with treatment, but you just give up as like the person you are.
Yeah, you almost give up on yourself, like you have no hope in yourself because you think no one else likes how I look right now, or it's really good that you could find the light in that situation and build yourself back up. Definitely.
Yeah, it it came from losing the red and finding out more as well about what drag was that really helped me with that. Because when the red did go, it was one of those things. It was one of those things of Emma that cancer had taken, and that was horrible. And I decided I was shaving my head. And I shaved my hair at that point because it was falling out, and I wanted control. So no, I'm not gonna sit around and watch my hair fall out. I'm taking the reins here. Yeah. In doing that, it gave me that sense of I've got control, but then it also gave me we're going to take part of you now.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, I found something that helped me to pick myself back up. And of course I've got a good friend who's very good at makeup, and she did my makeup for me and helped me feel a bit more like a person instead of this boiled egg. Sometimes we think we have to solve all of the problems in one moment all the time, but sometimes it's just those tiny little things, doing what you can do in that moment.
Yeah.
Like for me, it used to be putting on moisturizer on my hands at one point, because the couple of days after chemo I feel so rotten, but I would not be going out and I would not be putting on my makeup. I got some toxicity rash, so it was putting on that moisturizer on my hands, putting my moisturizer gloves on, and then when they come out and they wouldn't be as red and they wouldn't be as sore, that feels good. I feel better.
So can I just ask, you had surgery on your breasts, right?
Yeah, a double mastectomy.
So has that affected the way that you view your body in any way as well, or was it just more about your actual appearance from the outside?
No, I definitely would say that had an influence as well, because to me, like, again, it was one of those, I'd never had a relationship with my boobs. It was like some women, they're a really big part of how they view themselves, but for me, they weren't. And when it came down to my surgical choices, I straight away was like, well, I'll have a double mastectomy, we'll get rid of them both, it's fine. Because being alive was much more important to me than having two real boobs. There was some nervousness about what they were going to look like. But you look at before you have that, you see a nurse and you go through all these different options, and they show you lots of pictures of lots of boobs. Like, okay, this is what you might be like, this is what you might be like, this is what you might be like. And some of them are really great, and then you also have the ones that didn't go as well. And it's okay, I could be somewhere in between all of these, or I could be even better than the best one they've got, or I could be even worse than the worst one they've got. But it was one of those where I had to keep reminding myself why I was doing it.
Yeah. And
it was, again, I felt I was able, the stars aligned, and I was able to find the Behind the Scars project before my surgery, and that gave me a real sense of empowerment over the scars that I would be having, because I didn't have them at that point. I still had the boobs I was born with at that point. But no, I already felt very, because of seeing all those photographs, beautiful photographs that Sophie Mayenne took, and reading all these people's stories, I already felt that, okay, you know what? Yeah, I can have a mastectomy, and it's gonna be okay, because being healthy and being alive is a lot more important than the possibility of having scars and having some kind of weird shaped boobs.
Yeah. So do you have the option to get them removed with the scars there, or do you have the option to get them removed and to have like false ones on? I don't really know how it works. I'm a rookie.
There's quite a few different surgical options. So you can even just have the actual cancer itself and a bit of a bit of a breast tissue around it removed, or you can have a single mastectomy, just one breast removed. You can have double, which I have both, and then you can have them reconstructed either at the same time or at a later date. I had mine done at the same time. Pardon me, I had mine done at the same time, and you can have it done with either a permanent implant, an expander implant, which is what I've got, or another part of your body.
How have you found it? Like, are you happy with it? Do you want to change it? Have you had reconstruction, did you say? Or no?
I had reconstruction at the same time as the mastectomy. It was one of those, I'd much rather be alive and have big upside down teeth scars across my chest and no nipples than still having cancer and the possibility of having to come back in 10 years' time for either the other one removed or because it's come back. But like I have no problem with the way they look. I have no problem with the scarring. I'm very aware that other people might and other people do. I saw a couple of comments when my behind the scars pictures came out that weren't very nice, but that's that person's problem, not my problem.
No, not at all. Don't even listen to that, because you know, you're responsible for your actions. You can never control what other people say, so you just have to. But it matters what you think. Yeah.
And they clearly couldn't see the fact it was, you know, that it was a surgery to save my life, not a
one for vanity or something, or one for just extra.
Even if it was, like, it's not their place to say anything. But
no, not at all.
I mean, your boobs are probably better than theirs anyway, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, they're just clearly jealous.
But no, I don't have a problem with the way they look with the scarring. I feel very protective over it. Yeah. The only issue I've had with them is that due to the sort of implant they are, it can cause rippling. So like bits of the saline, which is in the implant, can clump together and it feels like a lump.
Oh God.
So you don't really want to be feeling.
Yeah.
Your boobs are not the one. Numbs anywhere are not the one. So I've had a couple of problems with that. But the way they look, no. I've had to sort of think about it in terms of dating and things like that. You know, at what point do I tell someone, oh, by the way, I haven't actually got real boobs. I've just got these 2 stacks of saline in my chest. Oh, and also I have no nipples, by the way. And, you know, how do I go about that? You know, so in my head, I've kind of got this routine ready for when the time does come.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want someone to see or feel and not know, and the shock, like seeing the sort of the shock register on their face or like a shake in their hand. I wouldn't want that to cause some kind of crisis of confidence in me.
Yeah. No. I think it ultimately comes down to when you feel confident to share it.
Of course.
Like it's you and from the outside looking in, like you completely own it. So I'm sure however you would say it, it's hardly, I can't imagine it being a problem. You know, it's, as you said, it's part of you. You are so positive and you are you today because of the experience you've gone through, including that. So it's definitely not worth the stress.
No, of course, there's a lot more bigger and more important things to go on. And if somebody gets their knickers in a twist because I decided that I'd rather have fake boobs than cancerous boobs, and that's their problem.
Definitely.
You know?
Hear to that. Hear.
Can't please everyone.
No, definitely.
I could stick that on my grave.
Thank you so much. Like, that was so lovely to hear, and thank you for being so transparent as well. I like that. I like a good positive attitude. I'm going to try and channel that and think of you when I'm being too hard on myself.
You're my spirit animal now, you know. You're my spirit animal.
Yeah, I like it. Now I'm going to be confident about my boobs.
Yeah. Praise these bodies.
Yes, praise our bodies. If they're silicone, if they're not, we love them. So
yeah, look after them and treat them right.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, thank you so much. Like, yeah, this is great.
So you just heard Emma there, and you know what, Beth? I really, really enjoyed listening to Emma because I think she was completely different from the rest of our views. She was so positive about her body image, and that's so nice to hear, because these days you constantly put yourself down and you don't really focus on the good.
Yeah, I think it's so liberating as well. I kind of expected it just because of the aura that she gives off on social media, and it's so refreshing, because a lot of the time, like your first thought when you think about body image and life after cancer, it's like, oh, I lost this, I put on this weight, and that was because of steroids or this. And all I ever hear really 90% of the time is change, moaning, like negativity. And you know, we're all susceptible to it, we're all human, but to hear that, it just takes you back a bit, and it's really nice. And I hope people that are listening can see almost the rain and the sunshine to it. It's just change, and change is good and bad in so many different ways. So I really, really love that. I really liked hearing that.
Oh, you go, girl. As in Emma. But
yeah, so we hope you enjoyed today's episode. We thought, you know, having a collection of us on would help to really represent all of the changes that go on. Obviously, we can't cover everything, but if you have experienced the same changes or something different, comment on our YouTube video if you're watching this on YouTube, or give us a little 5-star rating. We don't mind that. Or have a look at our social media page, Instagram and Facebook, and start a chat there, because we're always posting. We're posting daily. And it's really, really nice to hear about people's stories. Like, it really makes us feel good, and that's why we do it.
Yes, I completely agree. And I think body image is a huge topic in cancer itself. So if you guys are ever feeling down about it, then comment on our posts and just support each other, boost each other's moods up, and just be each other's support systems. That would be amazing, and we'll join along with you guys.
Yeah, you won't be cheering on your own, but this is a massive one. It really is. Like, whenever we are talking about our podcast, people constantly ask for a body image one. I think that's one that's on everyone's minds, and I think it's something we go through. You might struggle with it, you might not, but at some point you've thought about it. So let us know if you found this useful, and let us know if you have a different perspective. But yeah, we're over and out for today. So keep up to date until our next episode, which usually comes out every month, once a month. Leave us a lovely review, chat to us, and we will see you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.